Because he's also been announcing something else this week, which takes us into our final segment. And what was that he announced this week? This huge Kash-The-Dash and the Untouchables cracked the US sports betting mafia.
Of course they did.
So you remember we did mention this last week, right? And I did very immediately say to you, I have a feeling I know where this is going and why this is happening.
Yeah.
But also, like, who exactly was it you busted here? Like, which... You can say we busted the mafia. Which mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Italian mafia, the Jewish mafia, the gay mafia. You know, which one was it? So, let's quickly have a look at Cash. I say, segueing beautifully in from, like, shut up about Israel or anyone else to this amazing, huge achievement. Let's see him talk about his huge achievement.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any.
Profound justice! I am the law!
So
you know, profound. I love the phrases they come out. It's profound. This is 2000 AD, man.
I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA.
You see that pause there as he looked from one auto cue to the other. Like, guys, just learn how to speak, for God's sake.
Terrible.
Entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno.
Executed a system of justice against the Cosa Nostra.
Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi.
Pay attention here, yeah? Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi.
And you'll hear more about those details today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, the minute that this news broke, I was like, wait, what? It wouldn't happen to be these families, right? And I'll explain why in a minute.
The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime.
Well, this work is your president and your members of your cabinet.
Also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors.
Courageous prosecutors to pick up that pen and sign the document and say, arrest that guy. The bravery.
To stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people from money, to include crypto fraud. This isn't
the way this is even to include crypto fraud. Like,
this is more buzzwords.
I don't know. Yeah, like these speeches are. Why can't you just come out and say, "Look, I cracked some heads.
Cracked it. We've done it. They're arrested.
End on."
That showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where card games are being played. We are proud.
I imagine a few people are being plugged as well, right?
And here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take
a really courageous attorney. Publishing the damn Epstein files, right? That would be courageous.
But we don't shy away in this administration. We don't say no. What we do is we bring the results
unless
across the finish line.
Unless it's releasing the Epstein files, right? And then you definitely say freaking no.
We bring them to the public. We bring you accountability. And yes, they will have their day in court, and you will hear the evidence through the court system exclusively. We will not deny anyone of due process. And that's the brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So with that, I turn it over to United States Attorney Nosella. Thank you.
Okay, so there you go. There's the announcement, right? Where to start with this one?
Indeed.
Let's try and keep this light. So immediately I was like, I know who they've gone for, right? If you heard within there. So let's just summarize, right? It's a major federal takedown of sports betting corruption across the US. Yeah, what was it? He said over 11 states, okay, including New York and Las Vegas, which are the obvious ones to hit, right? Over 30 individuals, including Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, who mainly involved with the NBA. But I believe it was Billups is also entangled with the poker and the card games, which again, I was saying, I know there's business going on there. What with my prior links to the gambling industry and having worked for a certain company that might or might not have been owned by a certain person that we're going to get to in just a minute, right? You see where I'm going with this, right? But if you listen to the families involved, so I immediately said, it's the Italians. I immediately said, this is the Italians, right? Because obviously, the question was which mafia? Well, obviously the Italian La Cosa Nostra. Have you ever heard La Cosa Nostra, like maybe thrown around in a film or something?
Yeah.
Any particular film? Or series of films, maybe a trilogy.
Happier films, any.
So I'd really hope to have this to play over Cash. I'll probably edit it in afterwards, but while Cash was talking, I really wanted to have the end of the Godfather one with the camera just panning back and the doors playing.
Definitely.
Because who was Vito Corleone? Where did his name come from?
Go on.
Vito Genovese, of the Genovese family.
Yes.
Who was mentioned right there.
Indeed.
Along with the Gambino family. I'm sure you've heard of the Gambinos. Yeah, and Childish Gambino, obviously, you play on that. And the Bonanno family. And so, the straight up Italian mafia. All of the ones that were linked with Vegas, all the ones that are linked in New York, all the ones that are linked with the Colombo family.
Yeah.
All the ones linked with the Quay twins. Yeah. All the ones that aren't linked with someone else that I might get onto in a second, but I mean, this is interesting, is it not? Because again, who are these families intrinsically tied up with what we've just been speaking about, and Candace was just speaking about? Who did JFK sit there and say we need to watch out for? So that's very interesting, is it not?
All links back as ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking, because we'll get to this, we'll get to the real nuts and bolts of this in a second. But like, do you want to actually see like an example of the rigging? So for those that don't get it, right, like this is a rigging situation where there's sports fixing. So some of these people have been accused of like going injured in the middle of games, so the games could be thrown and stuff. And with the poker one, that one gets super cool. They're saying they're using X-ray tables and like shuffling machines. And the shuffling machine, I can definitely accredit that. Yep, at Scientific Games, which I worked at. Right, there was issues with card shufflers. There's even a guy who actually forwarded them out at millions of dollars as well through fiddling the back end. So they've got other things like wireless devices, all this. So yeah, they've been doing that. But like you think all this advanced stuff, right? I'm going to use a clip from the Roach King here. Shout out to Aswin Gold, because he found like an example, apparently example of one of the guys that's been matched on it. Tell me how quality this looks.
You're telling me this guy was betting on the outcome of NBA games? You don't say.
And still going.
He just passed it to the other team.
You're not even trying. You're not even trying to hide it, bro. Like, you're not even trying to go in and be like, oh, well, geez, guys, I made a mistake. You're not even good enough to do that, and you're popping off doing this shit. Oh, my God. Mind you, he's getting paid $26 million a year. Yeah, I bet he's going to be getting fined even more than that, and it's going to be bad. It's oh, my God. Look at this. Who is this guy?
Oh, no, the next bit. Doesn't even go for the ball. Doesn't even try to go for it.
Guys, having a tough night. Oh, jeez.
I'm having a bad night.
Honestly, like, if you just play this footage in a courtroom in front of a jury, all you need is a jury of 8 people that know how to play basketball. Play this footage in front of them, and they'll be like, oh. Yeah, no, he did that shit. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, again, I'm not the biggest
basketball
fan, but yeah, that's pretty freaking obvious, right? It's like
having a tough night.
Oh yeah, turning it over again, right? So this assumes it's happened before too.
Look at this one as well.
And he turned it over.
No way!
That's exactly what he's doing.
No way! That's just a mistake, right? It's not a big deal.
Of course it is.
Rozier with the 9-1-1 comes up short. On barrel. Rozier contested three.
Bro, these guys had an imposter on their team. That's insane. This guy's throwing the games like crazy. Oh my God. Guilty as Uncle Ruckus would say. Yep, that's right. It makes you question why things is professional sports. I mean, I do think that sports betting, I mean, this is my outlook on it, right? Legalizing sports betting, I think that, I mean, like, ask yourself the question, has it been a net positive or a net negative on society that now in the U.S., every single sports event, because here's the thing, right, is like there's such a massive industry of this. Like there's a gas station I went to, and they even have slot machines that they're playing at the gas station. Like gambling is now, I think it's getting a lot bigger. I think the reason why gambling is getting so big now, I'll tell you the reason why. It's because a lot of people have no hope and no money, and they want to just put their money and their hope into something, and for them, that's going to be gambling.
Yeah, and like it's interesting because I mean we've had this in our country. You remember Bruce Grobbelaar?
Yeah,
and that. But I do wonder, is there something coming? Because again, in this country, the gambling companies have been falling all over the place. I mean, William Hill got done because they weren't taking care of their gamblers properly.
Yeah.
This whole idea that you can set limits on gambling machines doesn't work.
No.
Like we tested that. We literally tested it, and I was making the point of you can just circumvent this and just say, give me another half hour or let me spend another £100, and they'll do it.
Not going to stop
It's
you.
It's not actually stopping anything.
No.
And I believe they got done for that. There's another case of a guy that I believe had actually lost his life. He took his own life because he was getting paid out and paid out and paid out and paid out, and then suddenly lost it all. And we have seen a massive explosion in this country. And one of the things that happened was they started trying to move away from the bookie and away from the bingo hall and away from slot machines to mobile.
Yeah.
And internet.
So it takes a certain person. Everyone would bet on the Grand National back in the day, but you wouldn't see those people in the betting shop any other day of the year. But you also knew people, you knew uncles and granddads habitually would go at the bookies, have a couple of fags, throw some money at horses. Yeah, that's their thing. But you wouldn't. No one has to think about going in there. It was an elite, not an elite club. You know what I mean? It was a different pastime.
Yeah.
You go to the, crikey, we go to the races. I don't know how this works really. How do you put a bet on? It was like a murky underworld of a different era. But like I say, now you can get your phone up. You can do your roulette. You won't go to casino. Maybe once a year as a treat, you go to casino for a special thing. No, it's everywhere.
Like, one, and do you know why one of the key reasons that they're moving to mobile and internet?
Snare more people.
Regulation.
Really?
Regulation.
Yeah, really.
Yes, you can completely avoid a whole heap of regulation by going web. And that's what Scientific Games did. Basically, they invested very heavily into that before. Like, they've gone. They're now taken over by another company. I should probably do a whole episode on that because there's a lot to it, and it ties directly into this, obviously, because again, I worked for that company, and the person we're gonna go over to in a second here to finish up this segment with, to make that link, to put that link in that you're gonna go, anyone that watched last week or anyone that follows any of this in detail. We're going to go to a wonderful woman, Anya K, on her channel Through the Eyes Of. And it's really interesting because she also worked, funnily enough, not even tangentially, same as me, pretty much directly, under these people involved in this situation, right? And it's funny to see it from her perspective. Now, I haven't got all of her video, obviously. I've got some clips from her. But it is very, very interesting because, again, we come back to, the Kirk thing, the Kash thing, Charlie Kirk, Kash Patel, Kash Patel to this now brings us, like it did last week, back to the same people again. And, Donald Trump's front and center here, right? I mean, he is lavishly involved with the Taj Mahal. Anyone remember the Taj Mahal situation with Donald Trump? Vegas gambling, all of this. There's a whole lot of stuff about Bond and Maxwell we could go into, but let's just jump back. Do you remember what I played last week in the Knesset with Donald Trump in Israel?
Yes.
Thanking certain people.
That is it.
And do you remember I mentioned a certain video with certain people in a certain country handing out globs of cash?
Yes.
Well, she found it. God bless Anya. She found it.
Excellent.
So let's have a little look at Anya. And I think you'll recognise the point at which this. I hope I've got this lined up right. The point at which this video starts. But let's just take a quick look at this because, again, like I say, who does this serve to benefit?
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say.
Okay, so obviously it's horrendously anti-Semitic statement.
Thank you, darling, for being here.
All right, so some of you might be probably wondering, why am I showing you this? And that is because this is very interesting how life is. We will get to that comment about me and Las Vegas. Very interesting. Before we get there to Las Vegas business and where the money was made, allegedly, most of the money, those $60 billion.
Just for context, like she say, she's referring to the fact that she worked in Vegas and she worked in the Wynn estate in Vegas, and Wynn built a series of casinos in Vegas. Again, this will tie back into people like Bond films and the Vegas shooting and stuff like that, if we wanted to go into that. But she's also done her research. She did some research into where has that 60 billion that he mentioned Adelson had come from. Yeah. And obviously she stumbled across the company I worked for and the gambling and, like I mentioned, the whole corruption trial and whether she could take bribes and stuff. So Anya has stumbled into this. She's done the research and found the company that I was mentioning that I worked for that Adelson owns. And she's going through the process of linking this up too now, right? Which for me, again, is vindication. Because I've known this since at least 91, right?
He said, well, if you look at the search for how much net worth this particular person has, I came across 37 or 38 billion dollars, but God only knows because they're not gonna report all of it, right?
And it should
Let's
be
look
mentioned
at
Israel being Israeli, you can't take money out of Israel, so does that include, like what's his funding figure-wise, does that include what's in Israel? Because often I don't think you're going to find that detail outside of Israel, I believe.
Short clip. You're gonna see this woman, Miriam, with her husband, late husband. Let's just take a listen to what they have to say, and then I'm gonna present you another very interesting video with both of them.
Takes her a minute, she'll get a bad internet.
He said that the Adelson family has nothing to gain except that which is in our heart. I am not Israeli. The uniform that I wore in the military, unfortunately, was not an Israeli uniform. It was an American uniform, although my wife was in the IDF. And one of my daughters was in the IDF.
And you hear that?
Yeah.
And this has been brought up. I think Trump even brought this up. That Sheldon said that unfortunately it wasn't an Israeli one. But his wife's in the IDF.
Yeah.
Miriam's been in the IDF, and his daughter and his son. Wait till you hear what he says about this.
Two little boys, our two little boys, one of whom will be bar mitzvah tomorrow. Hopefully he'll come back. Thank you. Hopefully he'll come back. His hobby is shooting, and he'll come back and be a sniper for the.
Isn't that what a lovely little dinner time and after dinner anecdote? Is I'm looking forward to my son coming back to the IDF and shooting kiddies in Gaza. Because that's ostensibly what they do, is it not? Right? Like, okay.
For the IDF. All we care about is being good Zionists, being good citizens of Israel, because even though I'm not Israeli born, Israel is in my heart. Somebody said that the Adelson family has nothing to gain.
Good Zionist. Even listen to the way you said, I'm just going to be a good little boy. I'm just going to do what I'm told.
Honest, believe me.
I'm just going to do what you're told because she found the clip, which, again, all you people last week that might have seen what I said about the Chabad, Leibovitz, and their monies. This also happened with Bill Gates. This did also happen with Bill Gates. This was also reported by The Guardian on both occasions. But God bless Anya, she found it. So just in case any of you wanted some absolute proof of this, right? Check this one out.
So here you're gonna see this person who was the main rabbi.
And she's talking about Rabbi Schneerson. You ever heard of Rabbi Schneerson? No. People need to go do some research into Rabbi Schneerson. Do you remember a story recently, a while back, about tunnels in New York?
Yes, all the
Jewish
tunnels.
Jews.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on to that thought while she goes on. But she's talking about Schneerson here now, okay?
Schneerson, who they called in Chabad Lubavitch the Messiah. They even call him the Messiah.
You know about
Chabad
Lubavitch? Yeah, like Chabad Lubavitch, anyone out there, is a certain sect, a particular sect of, fairly interesting people in Israel, okay? Like happen to be of the Jewish order, but again, as we pointed out last week, it's got nothing to do about Jewishness. There's agendas going on here, right? But again, Schneerson, Chabad Lubavitch.
Same Chabad Lubavitch that has the headquarters in Brooklyn, New York, where the tunnels were found, the strange tunnels story. This is the same movement, okay?
Yeah.
So you're gonna see this couple, embracing this particular rabbi. There is no translation, guys, so just look at the video. There is a translator that is trying to translate, which is really awkward because the rabbi speaks English very well, but for some reason he is just using different language, talking to her and him. So let's take a listen.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is as well? Why would he use, I'm going to guess they're speaking Yiddish.
Yes.
Okay, but again, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you entertain the press in English and then specifically speak to these two people in a language that only a modicum of people don't understand?
I mean, look.
Wait for it. Wait for it. And again, they did this with Bill Gates as well. Unfortunately, Anya's like in a room in the middle of like Poland or something, so it ain't great. Okay, see what's going on here? So, context, who's that in the video? Sheldon.
Yeah.
And Miriam Adelson. And here you have Rabbi Schneerson from the Chabad Lubavitch. What's he up to?
Money changing hands.
Like I mentioned last week. Remember who the money's coming from. Remember who your paymaster is. Yeah, you do exactly what you tell them to.
למה לא שיחיד ילד צריך להיס אחלה אחות לכל הפחות. תברך בשורות טובות והצלחה רבה. בסור ישפיר. כבר יש לך ילד בן ובת, זה בשביל הבן והבת החולים. ברכה והצלחה.
Yeah, Dodge, right? Sus.
Children to be born. Children to be born, okay. Thank you very much. I hope so.
And he says, like, thank you very much, and I hope so in English at the end there, does Adelson. So, I mean, you know, pretty definitive, right?
Absolutely.
And this is definitely not a fake video because, as I say, I remember 1991. I remember The Guardian specifically covering this. I believe it also made, like, TV news as well, because I remember seeing the video. And they were saying, is there too much influence from the Chabad Lubavitch going on here? And that got shut down real quick. That got shut down real quick. But again, like I say, this happened with Gates as well. Gates has done this, and I believe it's a rite of passage. Like, many people have been through this thing. So again, like, we looked at the video that this video started with him in the Knesset, and what we were saying there last week, or Jimmy Dore was pointing out, was, you know, I pointed out, he did what Sheldon wanted in the end. In the first term, Sheldon wanted him to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and recognise Jerusalem as the capital. Trump said, well, Trump didn't get it done, and Netanyahu himself is not in his best interest to do it. Again, we discussed that, right? And then we get to that speech, as Jimmy Dore pointed out, is like, I got it done, I did it for your money. Yeah? Well, like I said, what else is Trump doing for Adelson's money? As $100 million, potentially the biggest or second biggest funder of his campaigns, right? So rewind just like 20-30 minutes, and who have they just busted? But all of the Adelson's competition.
Yes.
Okay, and we are getting into epic Godfather level event here, right? Because again, go watch The Godfather 1 and 2 and 3. Because I haven't got a clip just here, but Anya does point out the Vatican mix-up. You know, the way John Paul I and all that, which, again, if you watch The Godfather 3, lowest rated of the films, possibly most relevant to what's going on this second. Because as she points out, you think this is all just one... No, the Vatican's up there. They had blooming Benito Mussolini in the Vatican. Like, they signed contracts. The Vatican signed contracts, concordances with the Nazis and stuff, right? Okay. And if you observe, like, even John Paul II would kiss the ring of mafia people or bow to the mafia. And again, is that not even in The Godfather? And he said, I'm on part 1 at the moment. I'm watching through them again, the director's cuts. But again, like, how convenient I'm watching that. And this crops up and everything falls exactly into place. The Gambinos, the Genovese, the Bonanos, all of them tied up in exactly, like I say, Don Vito Corleone is called Vito because of Vito Genovese. Right? And right here, he moved to Jerusalem because of her money. They kept Marco Rubio because of her money. Now could we potentially see that he has taken out their gambling competition in the United States for her money?
Sure sounds that way.
It sure does. And the thing is that I've been saying as well, I mentioned this last week, the Greater Israel Project, yeah, and the fact that you've got like these Chabad Lubavitch turning up and Hasidic Jews turning up in Ukraine, and they've started locking down those villages, so now only the Jewish people can get in there, and they've got their own police and all of that. And there's obviously a broader thing going on. And again, one of the reasons I strongly suggest people check out Anya Kay at Through the Eyes Of, because like she immediately went to where I was pointing people in the direction of this is not just one side here, right? Look what else she discovered with Schneerson, which again, I remember this in 2012, 2013 when this actually happened. So when all of this is transpiring now, for me, again, it's slightly vindication, but also just affirmation of what I already have been researching. She's found it too, so check this out.
Now, you think this is just Trump, and you know that Schneerson and the billionaires, just American. Well, not really necessarily, because we're going to go to this, and I have been showing this to you for the last 2 weeks now, and once I discovered this, I'm like, no, thank you. So let me show you this. Visiting the Jewish Museum and Tolerance. This is from official site of President of Russia. So here we have President Putin. Right behind him is the portrait of the same rabbi that you just saw. This is the Rabbi Schneerson.
Yeah, okay. Just in case you didn't hear that, this is visiting the Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center. Vladimir Putin, as Steven Seagal likes to call him, my good friend Putin.
Who that billionaire family was donating money to in 1991. This is the leader of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, and this is the same billionaire family that is supporting Trump's campaign. Okay, who loves Israel. So this Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center. This is official website. I put the link down below. From 2013, you think, oh, so this is all
the Tolerance Center as well, Museum and Tolerance Center.
We'll tolerate you.
Yeah, that's not really. Again, isn't it? Like I said last week, doesn't that tie into that sort of worrying epithet that like we had about 80 years ago? It's like we have to tolerate these people.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that what we were fighting against?
Yeah.
When we sent like thousands of our troops over there. Well, hey, whatever.
Matter. Well, it's not. Look at my previous videos. You see the connection is still very strong. There is a rabbi designated for the Russian Federation. Lazar is his name. So what is this about? Vladimir Putin visited the Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center, where Hebrew books and manuscripts from the Schneerson collection are housed. So this one has his archives in this museum in Moscow. How nice. I never went there when I was visiting. I don't think even if I would know then what I know now, I wouldn't go there. The president got acquainted with the work of the new specialized library department, which operates as a branch of the Russian State Library. The Schneerson Library is a collection of Hebrew books and manuscripts dating from the 18th century to the beginning of the 20th, and includes about 12,000 books and 50,000 rare documents. I wonder what kind of documents. Vladimir Putin
and also I wonder how many of those documents, as we mentioned it last week, were written by Elizabeth Maxwell or Persimmon Press or someone related to that, because again, I'm not putting it out, she was like our main person behind Holocaust history. Which again, like, it's interesting. It's interesting. As to say, it's curious, right?
He proposed housing the unique collection at the Tolerance Center in February this year during a meeting of the Presidential Council for interethnic relations. So here is what Putin is saying. I'm not going to read you all of this. Or maybe let me read you what he said.
Okay, so she's going to read you what he said. And I say we're coming to the end here, right? But I just want you to remember the speech that Trump gave last week. And you remember what I was saying about or was it? No, sorry, not Trump. Bibi. The importance of the American Israeli military support, how they support each other, and how like the Israeli people, by extension potentially in Bibi's mind the Jewish people, always stood strong next to America. So remember that all that speech rhetoric we heard last week, and now listen to this. Tell me if it sounds kind of familiar.
President of Russia Vladimir Putin says, "Friends, good afternoon. I will begin by saying that Russia has been a home to the Jewish people for centuries. Since its very inception, Russia has evolved as a multi-ethnic state, and Jewish individuals have made enormous intellectual, military, and labor contributions to the development of our nation." I'm not going to comment about the Bolsheviks' revolution, but let's continue. Throughout all times, they stood shoulder to shoulder with the other peoples to Russia to defend our nation when necessary, and as I already said, contributed greatly to its development. I am very pleased that the Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center, which opened a year ago, so it was 2012? Yeah, a year ago, continues these traditions, showcasing the history of the Jewish people in Russia and in world history overall. It is making and will continue to make a significant input into its purpose of developing the very tolerance I just spoke of. So this guy from this crazy movement, you know, the children trafficking, sacrifice, adrenochrome in Brooklyn, New York, of course, it's just conspiracy.
So I'm just going to chuck in one of them for a second there, right? Because obviously she just said the words. She just said all the trigger words in one there. Yeah. So that's our algorithmically challenged moment again, right there, right? But again, this week's conspiracy is next week's fact, right? Like, and there is unfortunately an awful lot of credence, especially when you go back and look into that tunnel situation.
Oh, yes.
There's good stuff in what she's saying here.
I'm talking about. So this is the guy. This is the leader. Of course, he didn't build the tunnels, but he kind of suggested for those young rabbis to build them. So they did. They built them. Let's continue. We feel that interfaith peace and inter-ethnic and inter-religious harmony are the foundation for the existence and further development of the Russian state. I agree with this sentence, but I don't agree with the Chabad-Lubavitch idea.
And ostensibly, again, is this sounding familiar? Okay, it's again like, you know, again, the statement's not wrong. Like she says, the statement is not wrong. Right, you know, to be able to, you know, relate to each other, interfaith, socially, whatever. Yeah, good. Right, but like not under the means they're going about it.
The Schneerson Library is of interest and great value to Jewish people, not just for Russian Jews, but those living in other nations around the world as well. I hope that when it is transferred to the Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center, this problem will be closed once and for all, because any individual, regardless of whether he or she lives in Russia or abroad, can freely visit and view these rare books. People can view, study, and hold these books in their hands. I would say no thank you. They can use them to draw knowledge that is highly necessary in today's world, because these books set forth eternal moral and ethical values which serve as the basis for any civilized society existing today. I wonder what the Palestinians would say. I met with many of the people sitting in this hall several years ago when rabbis from all around Russia gathered for a meeting at the Kremlin. I know that you, like any military organization, have some job rotation. Job rotation.
You, like any military operation, have some job rotation. Interesting choice of words. And watch how he scrambles that in a sec.
I hope there are some new faces here today as well. I want to wish you success. Naturally, when I talk about you, military organization, that was a joke. Was it? But a great deal of responsibility lies on your shoulders in educating people, supporting each individual that adherence, I mispronounce, to Judaism during difficult moments in their lives. Like Ivanka Trump too, huh? And such a moment, I don't know if it was difficult moment, but in her life, but she, And such moments occur in the lives of every person of any faith. And here, a kind word and a clergy member's steady hand are always needed. You have a difficult, highly responsible, and exceedingly honorable mission. I want to wish you success. Thank you.
So, that was Putin.
Yeah.
In 2013. Off the back of Schneerson, telling him to set up, or apparently I think she said Putin invited Schneerson to set that up.
Yeah.
Schneerson, who is seen there obviously handing over dollars to Adelson and the good widow Miriam, who obviously handing that straight over to Trump and saying, do what you do. By the looks of it, it would appear, allegedly. So there you go again, right? Like there is tonight's menagerie of interestingly linked stuff. I mean, obviously the little UK bit there is not necessarily directly linked as much as it was last week. But again, if you look at the policies going on and what we covered last week, and you're looking for who might be funding this, who might be funding that, certainly look through the Tommy Robinson thing, and we see that Likud had him over specifically. Musk is funding his court case. Someone paid for his teeth. When you start looking like here, well, now you're starting to think, well, hold on, how much of this is Dan Adelson's influence as well? And Sheldon's influence beyond the grave and Miriam's influence currently. So, I mean, could it be any more stark? It just, the more days that go past, and the deeper, like you say, the murkier it gets, the more of it again all pulls back to the same place. And it, like Anya says, it's not just the Americans, it's not just those billionaires, it's the Russians and their billionaires as well. And obviously Ukraine is seeing this sort of stuff going, and hasn't that fallen off the news map?
Yes.
And I bet no one's reporting these weird sects of Shabbat turning up and taking over entire towns. Whilst, like I said yesterday, they systematically remove as many Slavics as possible. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is one hell of a mixy mess, isn't it?
It is. We have come around a big circle, as ever.
Yeah, but hopefully, again, this has given some food for thought of what's going on in the world today.
That you don't always hear about.
Yeah, whether it be complete lockdowns on pebbles floating through space that happen to have glowy glows and
traffic lights on them.
Or whether it's everything all the way up to the reporting on Adelson's involvement. Everything. It's all.
And the Charlie Kirk thing just gets messier and messier. The more you look into it and the more time goes on with it as well.
It's going to be an interesting case, that one.
Isn't it?
I think it is going to be an interesting court case. Keep an eye on what actually even
comes up. So how quickly is that scheduled to take place, this court case?
It's supposed to be happening quickly, but I haven't got a date on that. I need to look at it. Because this is the problem again, is you're so wrapped up in the day-to-day revelation.
Yeah.
And the fog of war, and watching the fog of war roll out, but even the court date, I'm just I can't pick that out right now, because this is why I got notes, because there's so much of this. It's you've got to pick through it with a fine-tooth comb. But I mean, things are coming to a head. There's no doubt. There's a quick tie into that. You remember I told you the IDF accidentally blew up a bunch of their own people with ordnance and that, and then blamed it on Hamas. Well. Again, breaking news in the last 24 hours. Apparently, Hamas returned a bunch of bodies, and Israel claimed that their bodies have been DNA tested and checked as people that were returned 2 years ago. So they started bombing the hell out of Gaza again. Jeez. So I think we can safely say that peace process has gone
pretty much
nowhere, right?
Happening.
God knows how that's going to turn out. But again, there are lots of cogs in motion. And they are all related. And like I say, this takedown of the mafia, it just seems almost like that thing where you go and rob a bank, and then a week later you've got a Ferrari in the drive.
Yeah, exactly.
We just gone and
I wouldn't tell them I've won a lottery, but there'd be signs.
Yeah. It's again, the whole thing just speaks. So tell me what you're doing without telling me what you're doing.
That does seem to be the theme.
Yeah. But there you go. Like that's another healthy dose of information for this week.
Reality.
Well, is it reality? I don't know. Is it a constructed reality? Yeah. Is it just
we go back to
complete scripting that has gone off? Is ChatGPT running the show now?
Well, but I turn the autocue off in here now anyway, so we can go on script.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Terrible.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun looking into it, but it also does raise an awful lot of concerning questions out there. But as ever, we do love to hear other people's opinions on it as well. So if you're out there and you've missed a show and you're watching it back, drop us a chat in the comments.
Yeah,
make some comments. If there's anything that you might think that would be interesting for us to look into or to cover, let us know. And even if you find something's objectionable or you disagree with, that's fine as well.
Yes,
like I said last
absolutely.
week, you can totally disagree with people, but still have a civilized conversation about it. So we do invite you to drop a comment into the chat or into the comment section below. And of course, please do, if you like what you've seen, leave a like. If you don't, leave a dislike. That's fine as well.
Yeah.
And share this video and the following videos that I'll be splitting off chunks of segments into. If you have missed anything in particular, you can watch this back or one of the smallest week ahead.
They're not very small, the chunks, I've noticed though.
Yeah, again, I did say it'd be less than 4 hours and we're 6 minutes away. I'm racing to try and get in under that 4-hour mark. But yeah, obviously, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest content from us, you can find us on YouTube at Phluid Vision, on Twitch /Phluid Vision, TikTok at Phluid.records, Patreon /Phluid Records, where if you do like what we do enough and want to help us out,
we need some help. We're trying to set up a fluid tolerance centre.
Yes, we are. In fact, maybe I
need to be tolerated.
I'll get Sneerson on. He'll absolutely not help us out.
No,
he
so.
absolutely won't. But
we'll see what Candice says next week.
Yeah, you never know. Candice, if you are watching, give us a shout out. Just say these two random dudes in the UK in their
basement at Liscard.
We'll know what you mean, yeah.
West Liscard.
Yeah, but also thank you, Candice, for addressing some of those questions directly.
Yeah,
it was very creepy how direct she was. But yeah, like I say, at the Patreon, you can help support us there. Just £2 a month. It's non-obligatory. You can cancel it when one whole bunch of exclusive content, yada yada yada. Go have a look at the
donors, don't we? That's what we need.
We've got a couple. They're thanked in our credits.
I mean,
at the
big
end of the show.
proper donors. As we
but again, that's one of the reasons that we've maintained where we're at is because I've never taken donations from any big donor or advertiser or anything like that. Because as you can see from TV USA, you might end up with your shoulder blown off, right? I don't need that in my life. You know, I don't need pastors getting up and claiming that their son's a hero for watching me get my head blown off.
No, he was a hero though. He stood up. He didn't take one at all for the team.
No, absolutely not. But his mate sure did.
He passed the buck, was he?
Oh, Pastor Buck.
Pastor Buck.
As well, with that pastor thing, I forgot to mention it. It reminds me of that. Is it in Coming to America where they go to the church and it's got the black pastor saying, "Don't ask why the pastor's got a Mercedes Benz and you're driving a Yugo."
Yeah,
that's what it made me think of.
They're not poor. They are not poor. These people.
No. Again, well, clearly, so you can see from the funding. But I digress. You can also find us on X, Twitter at FM Phluid and Facebook /Phluid Records. We will be back next week with another one, right? We will. And hopefully
content. I don't know. We still have anything to do with the 3i Atlas. That's probably
going to have
passed through by then.
I mean, if anything does happen, then either we won't be here
exactly,
or
we'll be glowing or something. Like that.
There might be something to talk about.
Might be a case next week. We touched upon it this evening a little bit. I think the Madeleine McCann.
Yeah, we could have a little look into that.
That is very murky, right from the start of that.
Yeah.
Right through to where it's going to at the moment, and is she
court case of the supposed stalker?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Very odd.
It's funny because I've been following that first cropped up. So I've got a lot of background research on that,
and even the whole case because she's the same age as my son, so it's quite relevant at the time. She went missing when he was the same age as her, and you always you get to these key birthdays, just because we've been in that neck of the woods ourselves holidaying. We'll go over it next week. There's things you do and don't do. Yeah. You think, he's 21. I should have been 21. And it's very close in birthdays.
Yeah.
So, plenty more. I'd imagine.
That's the thing. Probably going to sort of roll on with the stories a little less on Charlie Kirk, maybe. Hopefully, unless anything insane happens.
And probably again, we touched on it earlier, quite significantly with the Charlie Kirk case, was the case of the furry.
Yes.
Now, coming across here, well, big time across here in schools and colleges and universities, that now if you want to be self-identify as a cat, you can get a litter tray in your classroom. You can have your food out of a bowl.
Again, I think there's like
furry tolerance.
There's an insidious thing going on here because, like, I'll put
They're
it
normalizing. They're normalizing this weird shit.
Well, one of the interesting things is though, right? Remember what we said last week, like the LA Gaming Convention. Lovely people.
Yeah.
And this is again why I worry is that there's a narrative being built here, right? I kind of regret saying this, and I know probably Aspen Gold's going to pick it up, but not all furries.
Yeah,
not all furries are necessarily Lance Twiggs. Okay.
No, this is the thing. But it's like any subsection of the human race and a society. You know, there's a lot. It's going to probably a lot of people that are gay, but they keep it to themselves. They do it in their own homes. There's people that take drugs or get drunk. They do it in their own homes. You've got a certain section that want to walk down the streets waving a banner saying they do this. They want to sit on street corners and drink. And you've also got the people that want to dress up as animals.
Yeah. I mean, look, this
don't put your head above the parapet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this should probably be a segment because, like, it's one of the things I'm conscious of. I think is worth pointing out is that, like I say, not all furries, right? not all gay guys, not all gay women. Like, all of our gay mates over the years have uniformly been of the opinion. Whoops,
you've disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they don't want me saying this.
No,
no. They've all uniformly been of the opinion of how much they hate people like Elton John or Graham Norton or Owen Jones.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I still see you, Owen Jones. You're still out there doing your pernicious, horrible shit, right? He's a grotty little kid, that one, and he's a horrible example. And there's one guy that wrote into the Guardian even saying, "Can you get Graham Norton off a telly?" Because he is in no way representative of the average gay guy in the UK. And yeah, this is like I say,
none of them are. None of the ones that are on there. Very few, I would say, are this over the top camp. Clapping the whole time and
I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with being like overt and over the top and like outgoing and stuff like that, but like I say, it's when you start getting these organized groups that start getting together and trying to like literally the key point I'm making is it doesn't help the cause of the people that just want to live their damn lives and don't go walking down the street butt naked like the guys in San Francisco at the Pride March like the other year doing unspeakable, obscene things that are public order offences. That's not appropriate, and that's not
a straight guy does. So gets straight locked up.
Yeah, but even at that, like the community don't want that because people will look at that and go, "Oh, that's all of you," just in the same way they do it with anyone else, whether it's like Islamic terrorism or the Israelis or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't go around just judging everyone like by these standards. And like I say, this is the dangerous thing, the Lance Twiggs thing and all of that, is that this narrative is playing into that.
Of course it is.
They're trying to drive, again, this wedge there of, like, these Christian conservatism and, like, how they're all just freakazoids and weirdos. And this is, like I say, if you listen to the crap that we listen to about Lance Twiggs tonight and pretend that every furry in the world is like that, then, bro, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Because I know furry. I worked in video games, right? I know a lot of bloody furries.
Look, we've done the gaming convention for Christ's sake in Liscard.
And like I say, at no point did any of them give off a vibe like Lance Twiggs gives off, even though we've never met the guy and we only see him on screen. There's vibes there, bro.
Yeah.
Like the eyes are there. You know, like I say, there is a whole thing maybe to break down on that. Maybe we should do a segment like on the dangers of this. Like I say, it's going to end up with people being attributed to something that has nothing to do with them. Yeah. And it's not on, man. It really isn't on. And like I say, on record, not all furries are like that. A lot of them are really just people that like being cuddly.
And we just happen to mention that because of the news on Charlie Kirk thing.
It
could have been they were born again Christian.
Well,
and you can say
again, you say that like,
they're all the bad
what
one
did
another.
we say about bloody George Farmer? He's a born again Christian, right?
Exactly.
Are we going to judge every born again Christian on George Farmer? Probably
There's
not.
nutters in every walk of life. It's like when you said that the farmer that shot those intruders, all farmers are lunatics with shotguns.
Absolutely.
Actually, they are. To be fair.
Well, yeah.
But you can't use the phrase tar and put the same brush anymore, can you? But you know what I mean? They're all put in the same category.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's good and bad in everybody.
Yeah.
And fortunately, you just get to see the worst of people, and then it just highlights these, I say, about the pastor.
Yeah.
I'm sure some lovely pastors out there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe a bit of a leap.
Yeah, but again, it still applies. And
lovely mafia people out there.
Yeah. Well,
lovely American presidents out there.
People. I heard Ronnie Cray was lovely.
Yeah. Well, that's enough for another night. Another day.
Again, I think it requires just one more of them. But I digress for the end of the evening. But
we have to digress at the end of the evening because it's been quite a heavy session. But it all goes round, and it's amazing. Where you start, with the exception probably of the giant asteroid come to kill us. Most other stuff does.
Well, again, the one thing that we didn't repeat this time, because we mentioned it last week, was this being Plan B from outer space, Blue Beam.
Yeah.
So if all this crap that's going on that we've been talking about otherwise falls through, then let's fall back on Project Blue Beam. We've got an alien invasion or the return of Christ or both at once.
Or name a bus after somebody insignificant.
Yeah, so,
Busty McBusface.
Yeah. So I mean, it's ever evolving. There's always more news to have.
There is.
So maybe next week we shall roll on a little bit, because we've done a couple of episodes now that have sort of really circulated around fairly similar themes.
Yeah,
so
try and get back over this side of the pond.
Yes, we'll do a bit more, maybe a bit more local stuff around it. We've got to do the crime page.
Oh, it wasn't so good. I looked at it. It wasn't so good today.
Yeah,
it wasn't quite so much donkey molestation as normally goes on,
or intergalactic visitors that turn out to be serial killers on a blind date.
Very true.
Go back to Abbey.
Very true. I'm just waiting for Cilla Black to rock up on that one.
Oddly,
with those two women, I was just waiting for the typical one show segue after that.
Yeah.
They say Abby mentioned blind dates. Well, what would you do on a blind date? What would you wear?
Well, I mean, that Avi Loeb clip earlier was pretty much that, wasn't it?
I was
half expecting to finish off and go, so Avi, what are you going to be wearing for Labour Day weekend? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Bloody radiation to suit the way it's going.
Yeah. But there you go. I think we've done pretty well. We did just creep over the 4-hour mark, but
just slightly.
Yeah, we
got try and get it down. I'm going to do it from my home studio next week.
Yeah. But so I mean, next week again, 7 o'clock. We'll be back with some, hopefully, a couple of new topics and any updates.
I may or may not be here next week, but you'll be somewhere to beam across.
Absolutely, Like we will do it via the beaming way, like we did for the first show.
It's like better camera this time. I'll have a fiddle about. I'll sort it out.
Even if it's just audio, we can do it like we did last time. But like I said, links are on the screen there. I've already mentioned them. Do jump on there, like, follow, share, subscribe. Drop us comments, give us some feedback. Keep your eyes open, because we've got Jacob and Harvey live gig has just gone up this week. So go check that out on YouTube on Phluid Vision. And coming up, we will have Siren Songbird, our new music release coming out there of her live performance.
Oh, we're going to drag an album out of her, I think. She's awesome.
Yeah. And obviously, you're going to hear her again in the outro here. So here's a little taster of what to expect from that. But in between time, there'll be some more shorts and stuff. Hopefully, I might even get a couple of gaming videos out as well in this week for Payne's Games. Try and finish the Precinct, which I've been playing for 4 months. But other than that, I think we're pretty much
we're good to go.
We're pretty much done for the evening. So thank you very much for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week. If there's anything you want more information in, check out last week's episode. But for the time being, I think we're out.
That has been us.
Cheerio.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Love is a doing work, feelings on my breath. Gentle impulsion shakes me, makes me water be healing soon, my breath. Teardrop on the fire be healing soon, my breath. 9 nights of matter, black flowers blossom, feeling soon, my breath. Black flowers blossom, feeling soon, my breath. Teardrop on the fire, be healing soon, my. Water is my eye, most faithful forever, feeling soon, my breath. Teardrop on the fire of a confession, feeling soon, my breath. Most faithful, feeling soon, my breath. Teardrop on the fire, feeling soon, my breath. You're stumbling a You're stumbling a little. Thank you.